going nowhere. I wasn't enjoying my life at all. I mean, even down to the conversations that continue to come up, like, are you happy? And I was just like, no. And it's like, are you fulfilled? And I was like, no, I'm fulfilled in my marriage. I'm happy in and about my marriage, but that was kind of it. And everything else was like, but once I finish this book, I'll be able to get my life back. I gained 50 pounds. I experienced what felt like a depression, and just been able to, I mean, I've enjoyed tonight's conversation while we were there, but as soon as I got back home, I'm picking up the laptop. And so it's like, how much of your purpose is designed for you to lose yourself in the process?
Everything is love, but that on anything I love. Yeah.
Peace, beloved.
I gotta take my glasses off, Lord.
You remember your spiel?
Hey y'all, my name is Candyss Love. Welcome back to another episode of God Is Me Again. I was supposed to say, hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of God Is Me Again. I am Candyss Love.
I am Candyss Love's husband.
I'm rusty. What if my name was Rusty? Would you still...
You're the same person? You're the same person?
Yeah. You still talk to me if my name was Rusty?
Yeah, we just had to go get some new paperwork, get you a new name.
What if my name was Musty? And like everybody in the world knew my name was Musty.
But you're not Musty.
And they would like clown me and bully me and stuff. Would you still?
Look, it's unconditional over here, baby.
What if I actually was Musty though?
I can't be here.
Okay. Because I need to understand.
They want the real from us. I got a question for you. And it's been a minute. We're going to get into some of the things that have transpired since y'all last seen us. But in lieu of today's topic, you said something earlier, but I didn't get context on it. You said being a woman is weird.
Yeah.
What did you mean in that moment?
I meant women have silent struggles that are not spoken about in society, that also create a silent burden of heaviness, of things that we have to do just to be a woman. And that alone in itself is exhausting. So a lot of women are always speaking about how tired we are. And I think that that's one of those silent bags that we carry, all the things that come with being a woman, all the things we have to do to upkeep our womanness, our womanhood. It's just like a silent bag. It's a subtle bag. It's a subtle burden. And I don't think that's ever accounted for when we acknowledge all the things that women have to experience. So when I was doing my makeup today, I was just like, man, it's so weird being a woman, because the most a man has to do is, you know, he'll do a skincare, his beard,
if
his
you do
clothes.
That, thank you for teaching me skincare.
I got you, baby. His clothes. And then women have a whole nother outline of things that they have to do just to show up as presentable. And in that moment, it was just like, I wouldn't mind being a man, because it feels like, or it seems like from the outside looking in, that a lot of the things that y'all don't have to do feels like a little bit more ease that's just kind of built into being a man.
Yeah. Did you look at the topic yet?
I didn't look at all of them. I got to topic 4, but I ain't got on no glasses, so I can't see none of that.
I got you. Number 5, you said silent. Number 5, and we're going to get to it in a minute, the silent anxiety rush that women have. And we're going to break all this down. Just wanted to give y'all a precursor, because sometimes when you just talk about where y'all been, everybody just fast forward to get to what the topic is. So y'all got an idea where we going. But in interim, let's just catch them up on some of the things that have transpired. It's been 3 months?
Yeah.
We ain't record all summer, mostly because Marty was here.
Yeah.
And we was giving our focus to that. Also, we've been in cahoots for real now with tonight's conversation. It ain't just a side piece thing no more. We officially in a relationship. with tonight's conversation, and we are officially on the fall tour that's coming for tonight's conversation. So we will be nationwide.
Yep.
We'll probably be in your city. If you want details on that, you can hit me up, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email, and we'll take care of y'all as far as getting tickets before they sell out, because they do sell out very fast.
Yeah.
And it's a vibe. If you've never been there, these are the big shows. We was doing the smaller shows over the summer. They're intimate series, but they're going back to the big concert style shows. And
thousands of people present.
Yeah, about 1,500, 2,000 people per show. Poetry, performances, DJ, people in the aisles dancing, and it's a dope vibe. I've never experienced nothing like that in our culture.
Yeah.
So would definitely like to look forward to seeing y'all come out for that. And then outside of that, you have also, and this is where we can start to get into the topic, when we got the call for the fall tour, which you was very excited about, which almost every day, did you get the text? Did you get the email? I'm like, nah, just let it come, right?
Because we were waiting on the tour dates.
Waiting on the tour dates to see how many tours we was going to do and stuff like that. And we've both performed very well on the platform.
Yeah.
They've used a lot of our content. People are starting to get familiar with us. So we had an idea that it was going to go well, but you never know till you actually get that contract. So when we saw 15 of them things on our first full fall tour, we was both excited.
Yeah.
And that sent this beautiful specimen of a young lady right here into a little bit of a silent tailspin, right? Now, mind you, most of y'all probably already have her phenomenal best-selling first book, Remember Who the F You Are. But she's been in the process also this summer of working on your second book. Now you can give them the title?
Yes. Things I probably shouldn't say, but fuck it, I'm angry.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this before we unpack. When you got the download, oh shit, tour is official. We got 15 of them things, and we pretty much, from the time we found out, talking a month and a half.
Yeah.
What went on in your mind about what you needed to do with this book? Because just for context, you have been at the tail end of the book. You've been doing your due diligence, piecemealing away at it, and it's taken you a lot longer than the first one. We said on the podcast before, you wrote the first one in a month. This wasn't that. This has been about 4 or 5 months. So when you got the information,
it's been about like a year and a half.
For real?
Yeah.
Okay, because you have been, even before I knew you was focusing on it. You're right.
Yeah.
What went on in your mind to send you into hyperdrive about getting this book done before we go on tour?
I think I know that it's something that I needed. And a part of me really feels like it's something that people need. And in my mind, it was just like, I also wanted it to get it out by my birthday.
Right. So we got birthday pressure. Tour pressure.
Yep. And then it's like, well, I got to hurry up. If I'm going to get it out by my birthday, I'm going to get it out. Because we start our tour October 4th. My birthday is September 30th.
And we got a retreat to do in Texas.
And we got a retreat September 25th through the 28th. So it was like, I'm running out of time. If I'm going to do it, then I have to do it right now. And it also was like, this is a new offering that I would like to really help people with. Anger is a big thing. And especially on the tour, we actually speak about it quite a lot. So I just had in my mind, it's time. Like, I need to get this out. I'm actually tired of writing this shit. So it was a lot pushing me forward to try to get it out.
Right. So I do my best to stay out your way when you in tunnel vision, when you in a wormhole. And I learned a lot from the first time. You also learned a lot, and you even said going into this book that you was going to take a different approach. You was going to make sure you still showed up in the household as a wife and all these different things, which you have been doing. But once you got the download and the tailspin started to happen, I noticed it, but you've done such a good job in interim up to that point. I still didn't feel a need to step in for my benefit. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I've went up many levels in my own self-reliance. I already had that coming into this relationship, but I've gathered even more of it being with a powerful woman that's always creating something new. So I'm good over here in these streets. I'm sleeping in the bed by myself. They judging. I'm cool, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was going somewhere one day. I'm handling business in Houston. I think going to pick up merch. By the way, Energy Bougie available right now. It's flying off the shelves. Winter edition coming soon. Shameless plug. But I'm riding around Houston handling stuff. You on the other end handling your things. And at a certain point, we just kind of stumbled onto the topic of your disdain towards the book. You didn't say it like verbatim, but in how you were saying how annoyed you were by the process and you tired of writing, I picked up on the disdain, and it opened up a conversation.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel compelled to say anything prior. I knew you was running yourself ragged. I knew it was one of those times where you were imbalanced. I didn't know if the imbalance was necessary for you to just get the last part of the book out. So like I said, I just fell back. But in that moment when I heard that angst in your voice, and I had already been seeing how much of your life had been sucked out of you by this process, then I felt the need to be daddy. And then I know y'all hate that term, but y'all got to deal with it today.
Listen,
right? Some of y'all.
Get you one.
Right. I felt the need to be daddy in the fact of not forcing you to do anything, but just speaking up about what I saw from a bird's eye view. And I said a bunch of different things. I sent her like 4 different long voice notes. I got my Ayanla Van Zant on. Actually, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. with Ayanla too.
And she'll be in Houston too.
As well, yeah. So we'll be on those shows together. But I just laid it all out. And in the process of it, I said a bunch of things, but one of which that I want to talk about first was, I know you want to get this book done before the tour. But you already got a book. You got a best-selling book. You got a book that you sold at this point almost 11,000 copies of by yourself. A book that still has a lot of legs and a lot of room to continue to expand and grow. Where I know you rushing this process for the next one, but this baby still needs you. Mm-hmm. Why is this book not enough for the tour? And when I said that, you said of all the things I said, that was really big for you to hear. What was going through your system, and what did you realize in me saying that?
Yeah, it's so funny because when you said that, the first thing out of my mouth was, I do have a book. And it was so odd to me because I literally forgot. Mm-hmm. I forgot I already had an offering. Mm-hmm. I forgot I already had something that could guide people deeper within themselves. So it's just such a random, wild aha moment because it was like, why am I rushing this? Mm-hmm. Why am I, draining myself like this? Why am I struggling? Why am I just going so hard? I already have something to offer. Mm-hmm. And it just really made me pause. I was about to get out of the car and go into the grocery store. And I just really sat there like, why did I do this to myself? Mm. You also said something where you were like, you're writing a book about anger, but writing is starting to make you angry.
At the book, at
the process. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, because I'm frustrated. I am angry with the process. I'm annoyed with the process. And if you ever speak to any authors, I don't know that anybody actually enjoys the process. It seems like it's a labor of love, but it was starting to become a labor of disdain. And you also said something to the effect of, not just in putting the book out, but in the creation of the book, I am also holding people's karma. Mm-hmm. And I'm working with karma before they even acknowledge that they're holding karma in their bodies. And so there's a level of spiritual integrity and honesty that and flow and alignment that I have to have in the process of creating the book, because that's the energy that goes into the book, and that's the energy that the reader will receive. And what I don't want them to receive is my anger or disdain that I felt when I was going through the corrections of the book. And that also just gave me another aha moment that when I write this book, I have to be in the best state emotionally, mentally, physically possible, because that is the energy that's going to feed the book and also feed the reader. So just reminding me that I have a responsibility to hold people's karma and to really honor their experience as I write, that was just pivotal for me. And I know that. But to have a reminder in a moment where you've actively forgotten is very important.
And 2 things to that. So the karma piece, I think, is big, and I will reiterate a small portion of what I said to you, because it's not just a Candyss thing that through this book process, you're going to be holding people's karma and are holding people's karma in a certain way. We all do that. In different ways, we are all each other's gurus. And I say guru because I referenced that based off the book Autobiography of a Yogi. I've referenced that many times on this podcast. But there's a certain point where the main character, Paramahansa Yogananda, his guru, is running an ashram for a bunch of boys that are trying to ascend into enlightenment. And at a certain point, he physically took on aspects of their karma that he knew they had too many blockages to push through in his life cycle. And he loved them so much, he wanted to expedite their process, which looked like him becoming deathly ill to the point they thought this man was about to die. And he couldn't explain it to everybody, but he did. He had a moment with Paramahansa where he let him know, I'm going to be fine. I know it look like I'm about to die, but I'm taking on y'all karma in ways that y'all don't have the ability to do just yet. So in writing the book and creating the nonprofit, the organization, whatever it is that we are commissioned to do while we on this plane, and especially women with the big, huge, compassionate hearts that y'all are kind of built in with, the nurturing energy to take care of everybody energy, you got to understand when you bringing these things into fruition, you got to accommodate for how much of a toll you holding other people's karma is going to take on you, right? And part of what I said about the karma piece was you can rush through this process at this stage and you can get it out and it can be successful. But what if this book is asking you to take your time with it? Because it's such big issues with this anger thing for you and for the world that if you rush it, you may skip certain pieces, and certain pieces of other people's karma may get jammed up in your own system and affect you in ways where you would have never correlated that happened 2 years from now to me rushing through this process with the book, or whatever y'all may be rushing through the process of because you're just trying to finish it and get to the end result. A lot of times we end up jamming ourselves up because we don't realize how much of our lives are intertwined with other people's karma and vice versa, and the high levels of discipline and awareness we got to have in that process. And then the other thing, and I'll give it to you, time blindness. This was time blindness on your end as well as effort blindness. Because like you said, and sometimes men are be in positions in relationships where it's like, how you ain't see that? You know what I'm saying? Like the other day we was at the mall, and the only reason we went to the mall because we was trying to kill some time before we went to the movies. And I didn't know you had changed the time of the movie. I thought it was 5:30, but we had a 5 o'clock showing. We walking into the mall at like 4:40, and you said, "Are we gonna have enough time?"
No, we were walking into the mall, and you were like,
"I asked you what time."
Because I was like,
yeah, because she didn't tell me she had switched the time. So I'm like, "What time is the movie again?" I'm checking my watch, making sure we good, and you was like 5 o'clock. I'm like, it's 4:40. Like, yeah, I switched the time. And jokingly, I wasn't coming at her or nothing. But jokingly, it's like, how you ain't say that we got an earlier movie? We should have never even came to the mall. Right. And he was like, look, I'm just in my element. Right. We chilling, right?
I'm a passenger princess.
So I feel like there's a certain level of built-in blindness with feminine energy when it comes to not just time, but effort. And when you said, Docs, I didn't even think about or remember. And we talking 3 weeks into her going breakneck speed. You didn't even think about the book that's all over the house that I don't got to rush this because I already have a viable product to be able to move at this tour. This book can come when it comes. You couldn't even see that. And that sent me into a little bit of research. Women are twice as likely as men to be undiagnosed with ADHD. Right? And a huge part of the time blindness and some of the things that to us is like, how you ain't see that, is based on serotonin synthesis. You ever heard about this? So we all know serotonin is a love chemical kind, and it helps us to gird the pressure of stress. Men already produce more serotonin. It's negligible, but we do produce more. But the thing is, we synthesize serotonin at a rate of 52% more than y'all. So when we are in these uncomfortable, stress-based moments, this is why y'all can seem so topsy-turvy, because anatomically and biologically, your system is not built to handle all this shit that sometimes a man can just be streamlined through. Also, we not as much connected to our emotions and stuff like that, but we can just plow through. We can be feeling stuff, but we can still get to the end result and kind of calculate pretty accurately what's going on, whereas y'all are naked. In a lot of ways, you don't have that reservoir of serotonin built up. So sometimes you can't see the book. You can't see we don't got enough time to go to the mall and things of this nature, which also factored into you rushing your way to the ending of the book. What you got in response to that?
Yeah, I remember when I first went out to Galveston to write my book. This was the second time. But this was probably in February. It was in January, right before Cleo's surgery. And I got 103-degree fever, probably the flu, who knows. But I'm not a person that often gets sick at all. I can count on one hand the 3 times I've gotten sick since 2020. And in that moment, it was I still have video of me crying because I wanted to figure out a way to share it when I put out the book. But I have video of me in the bed crying because I was just in so much pain.
And it was a blizzard. So I couldn't get to you and you couldn't go nowhere. Yeah, everything was shut down.
Everything was shut down, ice on the roads. And it did dawn on me that this was the process of birthing a new creation, but it didn't dawn on me that I was holding people's karma. And so that was manifesting in my body.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
Right. And to a large degree, it has to manifest in the body. So I actively understand other people's experiences, especially if I'm being a conduit and I'm speaking from God. And so a lot of the things in my book, even when I go back and I'm writing, I'm like, damn, I wrote that. I don't remember, writing this. And I don't even know that I'm intelligent enough to come up with some of the stuff that I put in this book. And so that, to your point, reflects me holding a lot of karma that isn't my own, and my body responding, because a fever is the body trying to protect you. The fever is the body trying to cleanse you. The fever is the body trying to make space and make sure you're safe. And so I wasn't even conscious of the fact that I was eating experience and karma for other people for the sake of the book. And so the other part of that is...
Let me say something to that too real quick. So you got the karma aspect of that experience. And that was also one, because you said about a year and a half of writing this book. It's been so many different signals coming from the energy of the book saying this ain't supposed to be rushed through. This one not going to be in a month. And that was another time because you went up there specifically to kind of finish the book. Yeah. Then, and that was what, six months ago at this point or more. And it was nothing you could do about it. God sat your ass down. I don't care how much you just ain't got that energy right now to write this book. Cleo still hobbling on one leg and wasn't done with her process. And that's another thing that's come up through this process. Did we talk about that before?
Well,
we took a break? Her surgeries and... I
don't think so. I don't know.
So
okay, right before the day I left, Cleo came limping in the house, she's my German Shepherd, y'all should know by now, but she came limping in the house and her tail was split in half. I still don't know how she did that. And even she did end up going to surgery and the doctor was like, she is really strong. I can't believe she's still holding this much pain in her body. But remember, we always say when there's something new that's about to be birthed, there always has to be a blood sacrifice.
Absolutely.
And so when we first moved into our home, you were the blood sacrifice.
I still got some of the scar,
Yep. Sometimes, or most times when we have a retreat, someone bleeds in some type of way.
Usually me.
And so...
and you, because you be on your period.
Yeah, right. And so, and I was actually on my cycle at that time too. Yeah. And it was a full moon. So I knew it was a lot of alignment, but also just thinking back how even what Cleo had to absorb to ensure that this could be done as well. Animals, the science and the spirituality of animals is them absorbing our karma for us so we can continue to have enough vitality to live our lives. So you'll find that when people feel sick, when they're about to get sick, even if they have cancer, if they're about to have a stroke, if they're about to pass out, dogs smell it. They smell it hours before it even happens. And so for Cleo to kind of just randomly assume these random injuries that we don't even know how she got it, it's kind of like her absorbing some of whatever the karma is that I wasn't even conscious of yet.
You thinking of that right now, or did you think about that already?
No, I just thought about that.
Because that's crazy. And you're right, as far as animals' place, especially dogs, especially her signing up as far as her soul contracts to be in this type of family where we have to hold as much karma as we do.
Yeah.
That gives me even more appreciation for
her
just
experience.
Cleo, and then for what she's going through for this experience, because you're right, on both ends she's holding karma in different ways for both of us. And I think that's part of the conversation too. I had wrote down on the board, let the game come to you. And you know, I always got my sports analogies. And in basketball, Kobe, Mike was real good at this at the end of his career. All the greats kind of had the ability to do this, but you know, it's 4 quarters in an NBA game. And you know, the rookies and the newbies, they trying to prove themselves. They coming out first quarter full throttle trying to do everything. But when you get some stain on you and you got some experience in the league, they call it let the game come to you, where first quarter you just filling it out. First quarter you're not using all your capabilities. You getting the other team involved. But when it come down to a third quarter, I need to turn up, I'm going to turn up. Right? So in letting the game come to you, as far as with this book, all the indications from life have been saying, nurture yourself. Take care of Cleo for the next 7 to 8 months in this process. And she just had another situation where you kind of back in that bag again with much more clarity. No tears have happened this time. Like, it was a depressing time for you last time because you got such of a connection to Cleo and you ain't want to have to see her struggle. But you've handled it completely different this time. But it's been so many different indications. Not right now. And in letting the game come to you, letting the book or whatever it is y'all got going come to you, there's another question I feel like is very necessary to start to ask of ourselves, of God, and of life in the moment. What's the work right now? Right? When you get on that hyper-focused tunnel vision of, I got this book to do, sometimes you may miss, well, the work is clear right now. The work is getting yourself in order and getting your juice back going again to the degree that you have. She pretty much been on a juice fast damn near a month and a half, and you about to go another month, and you starting to get back in your capacity. One of the things I brought up with the book is you could put this book out and you ain't been on social media in like 3 months. Mm-hmm. Your audience doesn't even feel integrated with your expansion, and they've been seeing you on tonight's conversation, and I'm sure they've been happy for you, but you haven't shown up on your own page. So you could put this book out and have to re-galvanize a whole audience. If you recognize maybe the work right now ain't finishing the book, it's also re-galvanizing my audience. It's so many different ways that we get hyper-focused on a result, a deadline, a time frame, that sometimes that tunnel vision, it makes us miss the side missions. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the side missions got to be completed, and you got to recognize, nope, my work is here right now. Once you get back on the path, it expedites you towards that end result process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this whole year was, you know, I did a live the other day on Instagram, and I was just speaking about how this whole year was an opportunity for me to just be lost, mm-hmm. to not have it together. And it started in January, and I don't feel like I came out of it until that conversation you and I had, which was last week. Mm-hmm. Like, I ain't look like this last week. Okay, I ain't look like this. I wasn't going nowhere. I wasn't enjoying my life at all. I mean, even down to the conversations that continue to come up, like, are you happy? And I was just like, no. And it's like, are you fulfilled? And I was like, no, I'm fulfilled in my marriage. I'm happy in and about my marriage, but that was kind of it. And everything else was like, but once I finish this book, I'll be able to get my life back. I gained 50 pounds. I experienced what felt like a depression and just lowness. Like, I just felt like I completely lost myself, not just in the book, but also in the experience of caretaking for Cleo. And it felt like the feeling of being lost was necessary. The not knowing how to maneuver that space was necessary. And if there wasn't a moment where we had that conversation, I would have still been there, and it don't feel like that would have been necessary. To the point I haven't been able to, I mean, I've enjoyed tonight's conversation while we were there, but as soon as I got back home, I'm picking up the laptop. And so it's like, how much of your purpose is designed for you to lose yourself in the process.
Of fulfilling your purpose. Yeah.
Of fulfilling your purpose. And even people who remote view, they do remote viewing. It's a psychic ability to be able to leave your body and transfer your consciousness to other places. You can follow people. You can go to other planets. A lot of people do this with the government as government employees. And so that whole process kind of, I guess, felt like I was losing my power and I didn't have a tether. And people who remote view, they may leave their bodies with a purpose of going somewhere, but they always speak about a tether that allows them to come back into their body. So I would feel like if I have a purpose to write something, or if you have a purpose to do something, essentially you are leaving your vessel to embark on a level of consciousness as a conduit to create something. But there has to be a tether that guides you back home to yourself. And I couldn't find my tether. And I think that's what happens with most people. We get into these creative spaces and
especially women.
Our consciousness is all out in the open, and we're creating, and there's just so much happening where we have ideas, and we also have to take care of ourselves, and we have to take care of our families. And if you have an animal, you got to take care of your animals, and you got to go to work, and you got to make money, and then you got to come back to your creation. There's so many things that have to be balanced. And if you don't have access to your tether, you don't have access to ground yourself back in your body, ground yourself back in your purpose, and ground yourself back in reality. And then that is what essentially is like, I feel lost. I feel like I don't even know what the purpose of this is anymore. I feel unfulfilled in something that used to be fun to you. So I think that lesson that I learned the most is remembering where I place my tether, and always making sure I have access to my tether, because in that way I always have access to my vessel to ground myself. And that conversation gave me an opportunity to really get back to my grounding and come back home to myself. And I feel like my life has been so much easeful since that conversation. So now I still write in my book every single day, and I'm not even writing, I'm making corrections, but I'm still making corrections every single day, but there's not any angst connected to it. I'm going out, I'm enjoying my life. You and Marty were here, and you're like, you want to come with us to the trampoline park? No, I gotta write. So much of my life passed me by, not just because of the book, but also because I was uncomfortable in my body. I gained almost 50 pounds. So that being lost allowed me to not even have, connection to my vessel. So I don't feel confident in it now that I've come back home to it. I have to learn how to feel confident all over again and see myself as beautiful all over again. And I feel like I really got my life back, and I've been able to do things a lot more easeful. I've been laughing. I've been a lot more playful. I feel like
I got my life back.
Yeah, I've been a lot more pleasant, and it does feel like I got my life back.
So it's a lot there, and that tether is fire, the way you just broke that down. Because even in the midst of conversation, that's where we're at. And it's a bunch of different terms when you look into spirituality, Turiya, the ether, ethos. It's all these different terms for this space of infinite potential of form to be able to come into existence. Before it becomes a thought, a desire, a want, or you bring it into fruition, it exists in this realm that's underneath and overlapping everything we interact with, right? So even in the midst of conversation, and that being a huge part of what we provide to the world, when you're listening to somebody, and you're doing it right now, I was doing it as you was just speaking, especially when you got to the tether thing, I could see my flashlight of attention, right? Because attention comes from the root phrase to stretch towards, right? So as you was talking, I'm deducing, I'm like, yo, that's fire. And then my attention is expanding out to where I could go with it and trying to understand what you're saying. And it's getting more and more floaty. But in the midst of conversation, you got to be able to go there, get what you need, and bring your ass back to the source. People who can't do that get lost in conversation. People who can't do that may not be able to be on a platform like tonight's conversation and be quick and ether and back to real time, right? So when you think about women and y'all unbridled creativity, y'all having more of the feminine energy usually flowing through y'all than men, and how much time y'all spend in that ether, even if it ain't got nothing to do with a book or business, just in random, what do I want to feel or experience today? Y'all imagination, positive and negative. You said I used to practice in my own head about how I was going to tell somebody off and I would never do it. Y'all spend a lot of time in this ether state. And then when you tack on top of that skill, talent, the ability to bring thought into fruition, the more you do that, the more you got to juggle, right?
Yeah.
So it's like this tug of war between being in this ether state and getting more and more expansive and floaty and losing your connection to source. And then when it's time to come back to it, I feel like it's a double-edged sword because when there isn't that anchor, and this is what I meant by the silent anxiety rush. Y'all know it's uncomfortable when you in that topsy-turvy space, and it's also connected to what you brought up as far as the conversation we had when we was at the retreat in Mexico. And I don't know how we stumbled onto the topic, but we was asking each other, are you happy? Are you fulfilled? And I think we asked each other to quantify 0 to 10 where we at. I was probably somewhere around 8 or 9. I felt happy in that moment. We at the retreat, we vibing. And when I asked you, you was like, you sat with it for a minute and you was like, happy? Probably like a 3. That took me aback because it's like, yo, our life is beautiful. Our relationship is beautiful. We doing all these great things. And then on fulfillment, you was probably a 2 or 3. And when we dug into the conversation, we started to unpack, well, what would bring those numbers up? Mm-hmm. And you mentioned things like, well, I've been wanting to get back to van life. I haven't been doing that. Mm-hmm. You mentioned things like, no matter what it is I have on my jacket to do in a certain season of my life, me being comfortable in my body, doing what it takes for me to feel balanced in my body. It was all simple shit that's more so charging port rather than ether. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And when you in that ether state, that imaginative state, everything looks so beautiful and mysterious and magical. The syndrome. Yeah. If I could do this or if I could do that a lot of times people, but especially women, can start to forget. I feel best when it's not a matter of what I'm producing or bringing into fruition. When I just feel basic needs being fulfilled, that's when I feel my best. So I feel like that wraps into the silent anxiety rush, and rush is a double entendre. This causes y'all to literally rush. Mm-hmm. This causes y'all to literally hurry, right? And then on top of that, many of y'all will go through this whole process, specifically with the book. Let's say you did continue to plow through. Okay. And continue to damage yourself in the process in different ways. And you got to the finish line, and now we're going on tour. You got both books ready to go. The rush of that. You get to that first show. I did it. I got both my books. You looking at these thoughts you've brung into the fruition, and you depleted, you exhausted, but I did that shit. There's a release of dopamine with that. Mm-hmm. It's short-lived, and that's the thing. It's very short-lived. You'll have it for a moment after months, if not years, of abusing yourself, and then you get that one eureka moment, that pursuit of happiness moment. Was the last 2 minutes of the movie, mm-hmm. where he's walking through and he here with it. We ain't see what happened on the other side because he's going to have to probably go right back into the shits to get to another pursuit of happiness moment. But that's the thing with that rush. It puts many people, and especially women, in this constant cycle of abuse myself, damage, do whatever it takes to get to that moment, get the rush, get the dopamine. I've hurried and rushed to this the whole time. And now, all right, what's the next thing?
Yeah, and I think a lot of us try to fix that issue of feeling exhausted, feeling lazy, not doing what we said we were going to do, not being productive, mm-hmm. not being creative. Like, we have these plans to be creative. We have these plans to be productive. And then when we cannot meet the mark, we go through this plan where we create productivity plans, or we'll create more plans to get difficult. And I'm the type of person that I was in the military, and I do know that I work best in a routine, and when there is some level of discipline. But I was listening to a psychiatrist, or I think she's a psychiatrist or a psychologist, but she's really, really good. I like her work a lot. Her name is Dr. Raquel Martin. Not the one that I was about to say. Not the one that y'all heard me make the video on. Not her. This is I just want to make that clear. Because we ain't no pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah, we're going to break down some of hers too. We got a new thing coming.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
But this one, her name is Dr. Raquel Martin. And she made a video that I feel was so necessary for me to see. And she broke down the differences between the need for discipline and the need for capacity. And she was basically speaking about how they are different, and we're trying to solve our lack of discipline with not acknowledging that we don't have the capacity. And so basically
That's
she's
a bar.
saying,
Say it again.
well, basically this is what she's saying. Y'all think you don't have discipline, and that's not the case. You do have discipline. You don't have capacity. And discipline is the structure, the consistency, the actually waking up at 6 a.m, the waking up, the doing. The capacity is, have you rested? Have you eaten? Have you given yourself the opportunity to practice self-care? Have you asked yourself if you have the capacity to do this right now in this moment, or does it need to wait until the next day?
What is the work?
What is the work? The capacity looks like, how do I honor myself? Do I honor myself with saying no? Do I acknowledge what is too much of a load on my plate? Do I just stop and say, you know what? I need to go eat. I haven't even eaten today. The capacity is nourishment. The capacity is how we nurture ourselves and revitalize ourselves so we have enough energy, enough strength, enough empowerment to be disciplined. If you don't have the capacity, the nourishment, and the nurturing, you are so exhausted you couldn't be disciplined even if you wanted to. You couldn't be consistent even if you wanted to, because you haven't even nurtured yourself up to a consistent space. And that was so pivotal for me to hear. And I'm so grateful for her for making that video, because I recognize it's not that I wasn't disciplined. I know how to be disciplined. Whatever it is I want to do, I can do it. I don't care how long it takes for me to figure it out. I can do whatever it is I put my mind to. So I know that it's not discipline, but I was trying to solve my issue with being disciplined, forcing myself into submission. And that'll work for the first week, few days, but it'll never last long.
It's not sustainable.
And then you always continue to get burned out. Yeah. Whereas if you just focus on the capacity portion, where you nurture yourself and you nurture yourself into discipline, you don't have to worry about the scatteredness, the ADHD that comes up with the creativity and the wanting to do. There's a proper way to do that. And it showed me that I was not taking the proper steps to nurture myself. A lot of these days, I wasn't even eating. If I was juicing, some of the days I wasn't even juicing. And you know you can't do that. So I didn't even have the energy to care for myself. I'm toggling on if I will post a photo. Something random that I do when I feel bad about myself. I take photos of myself. And so this is why I have like a long history of where I've come from. I have so much to show as far as proof of my evolution, because when I feel bad, I just will take a crazy looking photo. And it is like a before and after, because something within me wants to see how much I let go of myself. Something in me wants to be able to say, I have the ability to look back on where I was and prove to myself that I overcame that phase of my journey. So I'm still thinking about if I'm going to do it or not, but I may post a photo just showing y'all how bad your girl was down. Okay, how bad I was looking, because I was not nurturing myself. I had no capacity for nothing, and I couldn't do anything for myself. But that video just reminded me of how important it is when you have a lot on your plate that you have to do. It's a non-negotiable that you don't nurture yourself into discipline.
And with the capacity conversation, because that's something I've had to go through the process of doing too, and both of us juggle so many different things. If you really going to honor capacity, you have to get used to things not getting done. Not all the time. You still got to produce. You still got to get your shit right. But you got to have a baseline that there's a certain level, and we talk about the 100-point system, but there's a certain level of energy that if I go under, I can't give nothing to nobody.
Yep.
My wife, my son, whoever it is, it's been times during the summer where my wife may know I'm exhausted. I done maxed out 4 straight days and I just don't need to hear nothing from nobody, including my son. And she'll intuitively just take him. We don't even have a conversation about it. Hour later, I'm good to go. But I feel like our magic number, even though we don't always communicate it, if I know you somewhere around the 30-point mark, that's baseline. I'm not asking for shit from you if you're at 30. Yeah, you still got points. You could shimmy something up to give me if I needed it. But if you at 30, that's baseline. And once one of us is at 30, if y'all take that on, if I'm at 30, I don't care how important it may seem to get done. I don't care how much money I think it's going to make me, how much status it's going to bring me. I'm not doing it that day. I'm not going to do it until I get back into surplus. And with that, you have to be okay with perceived missed opportunity. Yeah. You got to be okay with starting to buck against the program of my value being in my doership, execution, and production. And when you get on the other side of that belief system that that's where you're valuable, you start to realize that there isn't as much pressure on the end result of bringing something into fruition. I've been working on my album for the past pretty much same amount of time as you've been doing your book. My way is a lot different. I'm a lot more slower and methodical, and I got less of, the propensity to want to go full throttle. We kind of, you push me forward and I ground you out in that way. Yes. You know what I'm saying? It's a perfect match in that way, but I already got it locked in where it's natural for me to take my time. I'm the the tortoise in the hare. I'm the tortoise. Yeah, and I'm the one like if we gonna and she do the hare, right. And sometimes when we match up, we exchange both those energies and it works out. Yeah. But with my album, it's been a long process, and we just got to the point where I received my album back this week. So now we in the mode of clipping it up. But from the outside looking in, it could have been a lot of moments where people would have been like, "Oh, you lazy right now. You should be doing more for that album." I exhaust possibility, and when it's time to let go, I let go of the idea. Damn, I'm behind the 8 ball. This ain't getting done in the right time frame. I got to get it out. I have 4 different release dates. None of them happened, right? I didn't feel a way about none of them in those moments. I just have seen God and source and life prove itself to me so many times. I always say, guys don't rush, we arrive. I've allowed myself to arrive in so many moments where it's like, damn, I took my time and this shit still happened, and it happened even more perfect than it would have if I rushed this process. And then I think you got anything to that? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think too, something you said that is very important is the capacity to let go. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite quotes that actually helps get me through my addiction to alcohol is "let go or be dragged." Yep. And I've been saying that quote for about 10 years. And what's important is when we're in these creative spaces and when we have all of these beautiful ideas and we're in the midst of really making the creations come to life and manifest into reality, there is a part of our experience where we don't let it go and we carry it with us every single day, every single moment, to where I can't be with my husband fully, mentally, emotionally, and physically, because mentally I'm somewhere else. Yeah. I can't enjoy the movies because mentally I'm somewhere else. You can't enjoy your massage because mentally you're somewhere else. I had a friend one time, and I remember when I first met her, we had an idea for something, and she was like, "Okay, so what's the date we're gonna do it?" I was like, "Oh shit, she's a doer." Like I was just kind of, metaphorically speaking, if we was going to do it. And she was like, "No, what's the date?" And then at some point we started speaking about our styles and flow of how we do things. And I was just like, "Girl, I don't want to work." And she was like, "Girl, I can't wait to work." She said when she gets massages, she can't even focus on the massage because she can't wait to get off the table. And I recognize for me, and what I'm assuming is happening for other people as well, is we are so enthralled into our creations and work or whatever it is that we're doing, that we're robbing ourselves of our present moments. We're robbing ourselves of the beauty that's happening in reality. And we're robbing ourselves of happiness. We're robbing ourselves of peace. We're robbing ourselves of joy because we can't be fully present in the joyous moment.
Right.
We can't be fully present in our peace. We can't even be fully present in our love. And so we learn to let go of the thing, give ourselves a certain amount of time to be enthralled, to be enmeshed with whatever it is we're creating or doing. And once that's done, actually let it go, because the fact that we are not letting it go is dragging us, and it's exhausting all of our energy. It's exhausting all of our joy. It's exhausting all of our peace. And by the time we actually finish the creation, we don't even have enough energy to promote it. We don't even have enough energy to sit with it and be happy about what we did. The dopamine leaves so fast because we have spent all of this mental energy running in circles, not even being present in the parts of our life that can ground us and give us more nurturing and nourishment. So if we're in a space to creating, practice the process of letting go and remembering that if we don't, there's a huge possibility that we will be dragged.
And last thing I say on this, we may do a part 2 to this at some point, but the last thing I say for now, in reference to what you just said, I was laughing because you just had one of those moments earlier. And usually when we getting everything ready, it can be a stressful thing. It could be breakneck speed, just trying to hurry up and get it done. And by the time you sit down, it's just like, oh my God, and we still got to film. So I just asked her a few minutes ago about an hour ago before we started, like, you feel a lot different right now. You're like, yeah, I feel good. But this morning, you was trying to figure out the cameras.
Yeah.
And I felt your stress, and I came over. I'm like, yo, breathe, bro. I'm like, we're going to take a breath together.
And that was my first stressful moment since our conversation. Yeah.
Right.
That was my first stressful moment.
And I think I said, have you breathed today? And you was like, nah. And
I was annoyed did I breathe? I'm breathing now.
She didn't even look at me when I asked. I'm like, look, hold on. Let's just take a breath together. I'm talking one breath. We can't get through that one breath before I peek over. And she looking down at the cameras. I'm like, bruh, no, put the cameras down. She laughing.
I'm like, breathing and
laugh, right? Because now it's already breaking up the catharsis of all that stress she felt. And she put it down. We did get the beautiful breath in. We continued to laugh, and the energy shifted in that moment. So what you'll realize in the letting go, that we feel like, why does life got to be so hard? Why does it got to be so fast? We got all these pockets of presence programmed into our day, right? That if you are not letting go, you don't realize God just gave you a 15-minute time out at 10 o'clock. You don't even realize God or life worked in a 2-hour getaway from your work at 3 p.m. You can't even see them, and you plow right through what are supposed to be the recesses.
Yeah.
And the more you start to recognize those pockets of presence, the more you start to take advantage of them. Now you got the ability to be clear in your choices. And you said something very dope to the group earlier. We just had our group Zoom call before our retreat in Texas with our attendees. What was the thing you said about choices?
So she was saying that she wanted to build trust in herself. She was saying that she basically betrayed her trust, and she's learning how to build it again. And a lot of people think that trust comes from, external, outwardly behavior, self-care, going to get your toes done and all of that stuff. But you build trust by being mindful and tracking your choices, the micro and macro choices that you make per day. If they are choices that honor who you are, honor who you want to be, honor your soul's mission, then you slowly start to build a confidence in yourself, an intuitive confidence. And you have to become more mindful of the choices you make that benefit you versus the choices that dishonor and betray you.
And as you track those choices, that builds your trust as well as your clarity to see these pockets of presence that life has already installed throughout your days. Then it becomes very easy to know what is the work right now.
Yeah.
And if the work is you thinking about all the shit you got to do, but it's like, bro, I'm tired. The work is take a nap, my nigga.
That's
you know what I'm saying? And as you take the nap, not taking the idea, damn, I'm lazy, I'm taking a nap at 2 o'clock. No, fully give yourself to the napping. And once you wake up, you ask yourself again, what's the work right now? That's going to always guide you to where you need to be in a way where the work is going to work and it's going to get done, but not at the expense of your well-being, your peace, and your ability to enjoy your life. Let me ask you this as we close out.
I want to share this one thing. I was doing research on archetypes. I got a few books up there about archetypes. And there's an archetype of the prostitute. And, you know, just off rip, you would think that the prostitute archetype is really just selling your body. But when you start to break down what the archetype actually entails, it's not just the selling of your body, it's also the selling of your gifts. It's the selling of your time, but also in respect to this conversation, the prostitution archetype is the selling of your presence, not being mentally present, and how you are prostituting your time, prostituting your presence, prostituting your joy, prostituting your peace in exchange for creation that's not even in alignment with your soul and your spirit in the moment. And so I feel like a lot of us are prostituting our presence. We can't even be present. It's like we are exchanging our presence for misery, just so we can complete something, just so we can get the tax done, just so we can get to the bag, so we can make some money. And we have to recognize the level of betrayal that comes with dishonoring ourselves in that way.
So the last thing I say, last time I asked you this, we was in Mexico, in Acumal, Mexico, and I asked you about, you know, your scale of happiness and fulfillment. And at that moment you said, I'm about a 3 on happy in my life at this point, maybe a 2 on fulfillment. And I'm not going to say it made me feel a way towards myself. I feel like, damn, do I need to do more work? Like, it was scary to hear that.
I think,
to hear
yeah,
those numbers.
I could see that.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't feel a way. I was happy that you gave me that truth. And I know how much flux is in those type of numbers. So in closing out, where is your happiness scale? Where's your fulfillment scale today?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
And I haven't even checked in with myself to ask myself that question yet, because I know there are still things that I would like to do. But before, I gave about 2s and 3s. Today, I would definitely give about 6s and 7s. And I think 6s and 7s is a good number because it leaves room for improvement.
Absolutely.
And there's so many things that I want to do, and I know how to do them. I know how to get there, but I know nurturing myself is the path to do that. And I can only imagine what lives on that other path. So I'm very happy. I'm very content. I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel bad about anything. I don't feel low about anything. And it's so funny because someone came to me when we were on tour, and they was just like, I wish I remembered her name, but we actually exchanged numbers, and I can't wait to like link up with her. But she was like, me and my girlfriend were watching you, and we were like, something's different about Candyss. And I think also what happens is people don't recognize
in
that
what way?
Energy, the way that I look, my glow.
Oh, like positive.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't positive or negative. It was just like something is different, and not necessarily off. But one of the things that she said was, we need to check on our girl.
Okay.
And when she came, she was like, Candyss, you know, are you okay? And I was like, you know, I'm human as well. I know a lot of things. I got a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things, but I'm human as well. And that path to trying to find happiness, joy, peace, harmony, and fulfillment is not just a path that everybody else gets to go on. Candyss has to go on that journey too. So in seasons where that isn't there, it doesn't mean that the world is falling apart. It doesn't mean that something's wrong. It means that things are falling apart. So I can learn how to figure out how to make things fall together. So at this stage of my life, and after that conversation, which was just so pivotal for me, I just needed a deep reminder, really like a kick in the ass of, girl, you're getting in your own way. Like, nobody has created this issue. You created this issue for yourself. I feel extremely fulfilled, but more so excited about how even more happy, joyful, peaceful, in harmony and fulfilled I can be really in the next coming weeks.
I think last thing I say, I know I keep saying that, but we just keep exchanging and it's opening up my mind. But, you know, happiness and fulfillment, again, beautiful things, but they are very fickle emotions.
Yeah.
And even when you said that, one of the things, because I sat with that myself in ways you didn't even know. And what kept coming up in my mind, even though you was at a 3 or 2 on happiness and fulfillment, what kept coming up in my mind was the memories of the times where you'll pretty often, let's say every 2 to 3 months, it'll be a moment where you'll just look at me and you'll say, I'm happy, right? It could be some simple little moment, event, experience we having, but you'll make sure to look at me and let me know I'm happy in this moment. And when I sat with that, and when I was, intentionally critical of myself, like, can I be doing more? How can I help get that number up? It reminded me of, it's supposed to come and go.
Yes.
And you said that word, beyond happiness and fulfillment, that contentment piece is really the baseline of a relationship. I know a popular phrase right now is find somebody you can suffer well with, which I get it, right? And there's a validity to that. But on the other end of the spectrum, find somebody where you can maintain contentment with. Contentment is something that's sustainable.
Yep.
We ain't always going to be happy together. We ain't always going to feel fulfilled in our life. But if we can hover around that contentment piece, then we got the adjustability to go into the lows and come back to baseline,
Yep.
to go into the highs and come back to baseline. And now we're no longer reliant on things that will induce happiness, the vacations, the sex, the trinkets, we don't need none of that, because now that phrase of I got to keep her happy, it's toxic as fuck.
Right. It's not even possible.
Right. It's like you're trying to keep her on a hamster wheel of dopamine, and life don't look like that or work like that, especially when we talking long-term relationship. I think we should start to rephrase it, especially as men. How do I keep us in some semblance of contentment? That's something I can manage.
Contentment and harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we back. I don't know what episode number this is. We done a lot of them, right?
This got to be the first one.
Okay, so we'll do it like this.
But we should also make one, because we haven't even talked about like what we've been doing, our personal.
We'll work it in.
So this might be 1 or 2.
Yeah, but this is season 2 of God It's Me Again podcast. Everything we did up to episode 11. That was season 1. Season 2. What are you doing?
I saw Beyonce do this before.
You loopy. Good thing we only got one more episode to do today, right? Energy Bougie out right now. Get your crop tops, lady. The crop tops have been moving crazy. We'll let her go off. We also got a new semblance of our output. We're going to be restructuring our YouTube page. That's a whole nother conversation we got to have. We may talk about that next. But we're going to restructure Candyss Love page as our joint business relationship and everything under the sun page. And we're also introducing a new aspect of this camera thing that we do together. You want to say the title?
Yeah. What is it? Take Their Mics.
Take Their Mics. We will be doing a reaction page or whatever you want to call it, of course, on the same YouTube. And if y'all got stuff where you feel like one of these influencers or podcasters saying some complete bullshit, please send it our way. And we're going to do 15 to 20 minute segments where we just break down some of the fallacy, inconsistencies, and contrasts, and how people show up in this space claiming they got in y'all. And not saying that we perfect or we get everything right, but it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of bullshit out here in this healing and wellness community. So we feel like it's our due diligence at this point, as our magnetism increases, to hold people to task. And we've already done some of that and gotten some backlash, but we don't give a fuck. Right. We gangsters, and this is what we're here to do. So look out for that as well. Remember who the fuck you are, out right now. Take it to 15,000 copies sold. New book will be on the way. And then if you want to come to the tour, tonight's conversation, again, reach out. We'll get y'all our affiliate link so you can get your tickets and be in the building and meet us whenever we come to your city. We also will be releasing information on next year's retreats. We probably will do more retreats next year, somewhere between probably 3 to 5 retreats next year. Stay tuned for that. Accepting clients.
Yes.
Accepting clients one-on-one, accepting clients one-on-one, family as well as relationship. Album coming soon. We almost there. I got y'all probably within the next month and a half. That thing will be released. My 4 singles is out right now. Daddy Issues, Everything Is Love, Texture. What's the other one? Come on. Daddy Issues, Everything. Airplane Mode. See how to knock your glasses out your hand. I'm hyped.
You doing good. I'm hyped. You killing it, man. You on fire.
But yeah, just keep supporting us, and we're going to keep delivering the content to y'all as well. And as always, thank you for trusting us. My nigga, everything is love, but that on anything I love. Yeah.
Peace, beloved.